The night before the company's core project bid, a Gen Z intern, in the name of protesting hustle culture, flipped the main breaker and demanded everyone go home. My fiancé led the applause. The kid's right, how can work be more important than life? My colleagues cheered in unison, flocking around the intern as they prepared to leave. In my past life, I rushed forward to stop them. But my fiancé accused me, don't be so serious. Everyone wants to go home. Don't hold everyone up just to show off. I ignored them all. Relying on the backup power supply, I pulled 3 all-nighters, single-handedly turned the tide, and won the company a 9-figure contract. But the intern, after leaving work that night, was followed and gang-raped by a group of thugs. Her parents brought people to the company to demand justice, but the company threw me under the bus, claiming I was solely responsible. My fiancé's inaction made me the target of public scorn. I was disfigured in an acid attack by an extremist. My parents had their legs broken by them and eventually froze to death on the streets. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day the intern was about to flip the breaker. I remained silent, turned, and dialed the number of my arch-rival. Mr. Liu, I'll help you with your bid proposal. I want a 30% cut of the profits. Zai, don't be so quiet. I know you're the most responsible one, but we don't want to work overtime either. Everyone's worked hard all day and just wants to go home and rest. You can't make us all work late just because you're inefficient, can you? I opened my eyes again, back at the most critical moment before the project bid. Fine, I said, my voice terrifyingly calm. Let's go home. The office fell silent instantly. I paid them no mind. Under their stunned gazes, I shut down my computer, grabbed my bag, and was the first to walk out of the office. The company had been developing well in recent years, so well that everyone was blinded by its superficial success. No one considered that the foundation built in the early days would eventually be depleted. If they failed to secure this 9-figure project, the company would face the biggest crisis since its inception. In my past life, my efforts went unappreciated. In this life, I wanted to see just how long they could last without me saving the day. I walked to an empty stairwell and dialed a number I knew by heart. Mr. Liu, this is Chizai. I'll do your bid proposal for you. I want a 30% cut. The next day, I walked into the company as usual. Yingyu, you're our hero. Exactly. That's our Gen Z for you, daring to challenge the workplace culture and say no to unfairness. Bai Yingyu smiled shyly, basking in everyone's praise. I was just thinking of everyone's well-being. The company belongs to all of us. We can't let one person call all the shots. A colleague shot me a passive-aggressive glance. Right, we're forced to hustle every day. This company has no humanity, it's so lifeless. Watching this scene, I found the company before me both unfamiliar and disgusting. I couldn't help but recall how it all began. Back then, my family went bankrupt. To be with me, Jiang Linchuan left his wealthy family, and we started Chuangxi Group from scratch. How could a young master like Jiang Linchuan, who grew up in the lap of luxury, have ever endured such hardship? I pitied him and shouldered most of the pressure myself. I led the team to secure investments, chase clients, and develop proposals, sleeping alongside them on hard cots in the office. At that time, we could barely make payroll, yet no one complained. Now that the company was big and life was easy, all they could think about was comfort. How ridiculous. Zai, Bai Yingyu walked over to me, holding a cup of coffee. Don't be mad about yesterday. I was just doing it for everyone's good. Before I could speak, Jiang Linchuan approached, his eyes filled with displeasure as he looked at me. Yingyu is just kind-hearted. Not like you, all sharp edges. No one can stand you. My hand, about to turn on my computer, froze in midair. The next second, Bai Yingyu let out a cry of awe, and her body swayed. A cup of scalding coffee spilled all over my laptop. Sizzle! The computer screen went black instantly. On it was our company's final bid proposal. I'm so sorry, Zai. Bai Yingyu covered her mouth, her eyes welling with tears, looking innocent and pitiful. I didn't do it on purpose, my hand slipped, but Jiang Linchuan grabbed her hand, examining it anxiously. Did you get burned? How could you be so careless? His voice was full of concern and blame. A long time ago, I got a small paper cut on my hand, and he would hold it just as nervously, blowing on it gently. But now, his heart and eyes were only for Bai Yingyu. For me, there was only impatience. Chizai, Yingyu has already apologized. What more do you want? Don't be so petty. The other colleagues gathered around. Yeah, Yingyu didn't do it on purpose. What's the big deal? It's just a stupid computer, just buy a new one. I laughed, a laugh born of anger. I raised my eyes and looked at each of them calmly. The final version of the bid proposal was on there. The office fell silent for a second. Jiang Linchuan's expression flickered, but he quickly resumed his arrogant posture. It's just a document. We can just make another one, can't we? He waved his hand impatiently, not taking it seriously at all. Of course. In his eyes, the company's success was all thanks to his family's background and immense capital. His smooth sailing journey had led him to believe that a project of this level could be won with his eyes closed. But he would never know how many all-nighters I had pulled, how many cups of coffee I had drunk to snatch those seemingly easy projects from countless competitors. Seeing Jiang Linchuan's confidence, the other colleagues were also reassured. As I watched him carefully shield Bai Yingyu, memories from my past life flooded my mind. After Bai Yingyu was gang-raped, he had used all his connections. He had the thugs' legs broken and had them thrown into the river. But when I, who had died a horrible death after the acid attack, was mentioned, he had said, "That woman, Chizai, she brought this upon Yingyu. If she's dead, she's dead. It's not worth it." He was right. It really wasn't worth it for a group of people like this. I pulled my thoughts back to the present and dialed the IT department's internal line. "This computer is broken. Please file it for disposal." Seeing how calm I was, Jiang Linchuan's face was filled with disdain and mockery. They thought this bid was already in the bag, but they didn't know that once this project failed, the company's cash flow would immediately break. The entire company would collapse in an instant. I turned and walked out of the office, leaving their self-righteous faces far behind me. This time, I would wait and watch them lose everything. Just as I stepped out of the office, I heard Bai Yingyu's soft sobs from behind me. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Saijai, please don't be mad at me. I really didn't mean to." A strong grip suddenly seized my wrist, yanking me backward. Caught off guard, my lower back slammed hard against the sharp corner of a desk. A sharp pain shot through my waist. My face turned deathly pale in an instant, and cold sweat beaded on my forehead. Jiang Linchuan glared at me. "What's with the act? Yingyu has already apologized to you. Who are you putting on that long face for?" My body was trembling with pain, and I couldn't utter a single word. A colleague, who was usually on good terms with me, couldn't bear to watch, and whispered a word of caution. "Mr. Jiang, Zaijai looks really pale. Maybe we should take her to the hospital." Jiang Linchuan's anger paused for a moment. Just then, Bai Yingyu rushed over, her voice choked with sobs. "Mr. Jiang, please don't blame Zaijai. It's all my fault. I'm just an intern, I don't know any better. Zaijai is a founding member of the company, your right-hand woman. Nothing can happen to her. It's okay if I'm a little wronged." As expected, at her words, the flicker of concern in his eyes instantly turned to disgust and contempt. "Chizai, how long are you going to keep up this act? In the past, to climb the ladder, to fight for power, what kind of despicable tricks didn't you use? And now, to fight for me, you won't even spare an intern who just joined the company. What is your heart made of?" I stared at him in disbelief. So all my past efforts of humbling myself to please clients for the sake of the company were nothing but underhanded tactics in his eyes. The surrounding colleagues were completely swayed by Bai Yingyu's self-sacrificing speech. Exactly why pick on a young girl, so ungracious? Yingyu is so considerate, always thinking of you. Chizai, you've really gone too far this time. The storm of accusations threatened to drown me. I was in so much pain I could barely stand, but I clenched my jaw and held onto the desk, refusing to fall. As if that wasn't enough, Jiang Linchuan made a decision in front of everyone. "From this moment on, you are no longer the manager of the project department. Bai Yingyu, your internship is over. Effective immediately, you are my executive assistant." The office erupted in an uproar. Bai Yingyu covered her mouth, feigning reluctance. "Mr. Jiang, this isn't appropriate, is it?" But Jiang Linchuan gently took her hand, his gaze toward me filled with mockery. "You deserve it. Unlike some people who are unworthy of their position." Those words struck me like a loud slap across the face. I slowly straightened up, met everyone's gaze, and pulled open the bottom drawer of my desk. I slapped the resignation letter I had prepared long ago onto the table. My voice wasn't loud, but it silenced the entire office. "Mr. Jiang is right." I looked at his stunned face and said, word by word, "I am indeed unworthy of this position." After getting my injury treated at the hospital, I went back to the company to pack my things. Just then, Jiang Linchuan called. "Come celebrate Yingyu's promotion. It's at the hotel downstairs from the company. And while you're at it, apologize to her. I'll pretend I never saw your resignation letter." I hung up without hesitation. "I'm not going." I turned my head, only to see Jiang Linchuan standing in front of me. He snatched the medical report from my hand, glanced at it, and then laughed contemptuously. "Soft tissue contusion." He crumpled the paper into a ball and threw it in my face. "Cheese eye, to avoid celebrating with Yingyu, you'd even stoop to a stunt like this." The paper ball stung my cheek. He gave me no chance to react, grabbing my wrist and dragging me out. "Come with me." The sharp pain in my waist made me unsteady. Jiang Linchuan let go. He ignored me, roughly shoving me into the car and dragging me all the way to a private room at the hotel. He pushed the door open to a lively scene inside. When Bai Yingyu saw me, her eyes were filled with triumph. She stood up looking delicate and weak. "Zai, you're here. Is your back okay?" Jiang Linchuan slammed an unopened bottle of beijiu on the table in front of me with a loud thud. "Apologize." I stared at the bottle, my stomach churning. 3 years ago, to secure a key partnership for the company, I drank with a client until I was rushed to the emergency room with a bleeding stomach. Jiang Linchuan had stayed by my hospital bed, his eyes red. "Zixi, I was wrong. I'll never let you drink another drop of alcohol again." Now, for his little assistant, he personally pushed a bottle of hard liquor in front of me. Seeing me motionless, Bai Yingyu put on her innocent face again. "Mr. Jiang, let's just forget it. If Zai doesn't want to drink, don't force her. It's all my fault." The other colleagues chimed in. "Yeah, Mr. Jiang, it's just 1 bottle of alcohol. Zai used to down more than a dozen bottles for the company. Why is she being so difficult today?" "Exactly. Drink this bottle and we'll all still be good colleagues." I looked at the chaotic scene, my head throbbing. "I can't drink right now." Jiang Linchuan cut me off mid-sentence. "Cheese eye, don't be shameless." "Drink." Bai Yingyu was still playing the victim. Jai, do you not like me? If you don't like me, I just won't come to work tomorrow." Her words completely ignited Jiang Linchuan's fury. Slap. A loud slap landed squarely on my face. The entire room fell silent. A burning pain spread from my cheek to the bottom of my heart. I looked at Jiang Linchuan, the man I once thought I could entrust my life to. He was now so unfamiliar, I could hardly recognize him. I had repaid the life I owed him in my past life. As for what was left, let this drink be the final settlement. I picked up the bottle without looking at anyone. I twisted off the cap, tilted my head back, and drained it to the last drop. The colleagues started to cheer. "What a drinker." Another one, another one. Bottle after bottle was pushed in front of me. I don't remember how much I drank or how much time passed. They all left. Jiang Linchuan was supporting a dead drunk Bai Yingyu, his gaze on me unreadable. "I'll take Yingyu home. It's not safe for a young girl like her. You can go back on your own later." The door closed. I was the only one left in the vast private room. I slumped over the table, my stomach churning violently, but I didn't even have the strength to lift a finger. After what felt like an eternity, the door to the room was suddenly pushed open. Several men walked in, reeking of alcohol, and surrounded me with malicious intent. Well, looks like that little chick from earlier was right. She's a real looker. All alone, how about we brothers keep you company? Stay away." With the last shred of my consciousness, I dialed Jiang Linchuan's number, but it was Bai Yingyu's voice that answered. "Zai Linchuan Ji is in the shower. The arrangements I made for you. Not too bad, right? Enjoy your night." I desperately tried to run, but my feet felt like they were filled with lead. In my despair, they caught me, and my clothes were torn to shreds. Just as a filthy hand was about to touch me, bang! The door to the room was kicked open from the outside. A figure appeared, silhouetted against the light. He took off his suit jacket, strode over, and wrapped it tightly around me. I looked up and met a pair of familiar eyes. It was my arch-rival, Liu Yanheng. He looked at me, his brow furrowed. "Cheese eye, it's only been a few days. How did you let yourself get into such a mess?" The next day, the project bidding conference proceeded as scheduled. The atmosphere in the conference hall was tense. Representatives from major companies took the stage one by one, presenting their meticulously prepared proposals, each one brimming with confidence. I sat beside Liu Yanheng as a special consultant for Huisheng Group. He turned his head, his voice low but filled with concern. "You look pale. Can you handle this?" I nodded, my gaze fixed on the Chuangxi Group seats not far away. Reborn into this life, how could I be content without witnessing their downfall with my own eyes? The host's clear voice rang out at the perfect moment. "Next, let's welcome the representative from Chuangxi Group to the stage." The hall fell silent. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. No one from Chuangxi's section stood up. The spotlight on the stage felt awkward. I saw several of Jiang Linchuan's trusted subordinates, their faces pale, beads of sweat on their foreheads, frantically rummaging through their bags. Bai Yingyu sat next to Jiang Linchuan, her eyes red, looking as if she were about to burst into tears. "Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry. I don't know how the USB drive went missing." Jiang Linchuan's face was ashen, his jaw clenched tight. The host prompted them again. "Is the representative from Chuangxi Group present? Please come to the stage." The commotion in Chuangxi's section grew louder. People started whispering. "What the hell is going on? Where's the proposal? We drank too much last night. Who remembers where it was put? Didn't Assistant Bai have it?" Everyone's eyes drifted toward Bai Yingyu. She trembled under their gazes, tears instantly streaming down her face as she clutched Jiang Linchuan's sleeve. I really didn't lose it." Jiang Linchuan looked at her tear-streaked face, and the fury in his eyes was forcibly suppressed. He patted her hand reassuringly. When he looked up again, he glared fiercely at his subordinates. "All of you shut up, I'll deal with you when we get back." The hungover employees, startled by his roar, immediately fell silent. The bidding time was about to run out. Representatives from other companies grew restless and began to whisper among themselves. "What is Chuangxi doing, entrusting such an important event to an intern?" I heard a rumor that Chuangxi's project manager, Chizai, was dismissed, and they promoted a recent college graduate. Are you kidding me? Chuangxi is losing a watermelon to pick up a sesame seed. Without Chizai, they still think they can win this bid. The faces of the bidding committee on the stage had already turned sour. A middle-aged man stood up. He was the project's chief director, Mr. Li. A bidding conference represents a company's professionalism, rigor, and integrity. His gaze swept over Jiang Linchuan, filled with undisguised disappointment. "We have given Chuangxi Group ample time, but your performance today gives us reason to doubt your sincerity in this partnership. I hereby announce that Chuangxi Group is disqualified from this bid." As his words fell, Jiang Linchuan and his team turned ashen-faced. Bai Yingyu cried even harder, practically hanging off Jiang Linchuan. "Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault." Just then, Lu Yanheng stood up. "Since Chuangxi Group is so insincere, why don't we at Huisheng Group present first?" Lu Yanheng's voice wasn't loud, but it drew everyone's attention to him, including, of course, Jiang Linchuan. When he saw me beside Lu Yanheng, his eyes flashed with shock, disbelief, and then a towering rage. Bai Yingyu, beside him, even forgot to cry, her face a mask of incredulity as she stared at me. Lu Yanheng walked calmly to the podium. "The core of the Ruin and New City project lies in." He began his presentation fluently. From the project concept and market analysis, to the detailed planning, design, and financial budget, every detail was perfectly executed. The 15-minute presentation concluded. The audience erupted in thunderous applause. Several judges led a standing ovation, their faces filled with approval. "Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This proposal perfectly addresses all of our concerns." Lu Yanheng walked calmly off the stage, his eyes meeting mine. I raised my wine glass in a silent toast to him. Jiang Linchuan could no longer contain himself. He shot up, rushed over in a few strides, and seized my wrist. "Chizai," his eyes were bloodshot, his voice squeezed through his teeth. "Come back with me. I can forgive your tantrum from yesterday." His grip on my wrist was painfully tight. Before I could speak, another warm hand covered Jiang Linchuan's. Lu Yanheng had appeared at some point, and he calmly pried Jiang Linchuan's fingers off, one by one. He pulled me behind him, shielding me. "Mr. Jiang," Lu Yanheng's tone was light, but it carried an undeniable sense of pressure. "The bidding isn't over yet. It's not a good look to lose your composure like this. Besides, Chizai is with Huisheng now." It was her. Bai Yingyu suddenly rushed out from behind Jiang Linchuan, her red eyes glaring at me, her finger almost poking my face. "Mr. Jiang, Chizai must have stolen the USB drive." Her accusation immediately drew everyone's attention to me. She's been resentful of the company for a long time. She submitted her resignation yesterday and shows up with Huisheng today. Who else could it be? She just wants to see Chuangxi make a fool of itself. She wants to ruin this bid so she can secure her position at Huisheng. Hearing Bai Yingyu, the other colleagues from Chuangxi also reacted, pointing their fingers at me. "That's right, it must be her. I knew there was something strange about her sudden resignation. Chizai, we were so wrong about you. To think we used to treat you like a sister. You ungrateful wolf. Mr. Jiang treated you so well, and this is how you repay him. Biting the hand that feeds you. The company treated her well, and she uses such a vicious method to get revenge. They were all filled with righteous indignation, and their vile accusations flew at me. I stood there, finding the whole situation absurd and laughable. Chizai, Jiang Linchuan finally spoke, his voice suppressing a volcano of anger. I never thought you were this kind of person. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. So she's a corporate spy. Tusk, young people these days will stop at nothing. She looks so innocent, but her heart is so venomous. Why would Huasheng Group hire someone like this? Aren't they afraid she'll turn on them too? The unfamiliar faces, the contemptuous stares, formed a giant net that trapped me in the center, suffocating me. In the crowd, I saw Bai Yingyu hiding behind Jiang Linchuan, tears still on her face, looking pitiful. But her eyes, when they met mine, were filled with undisguised triumph and provocation. I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my palms. Facing all the accusations and curses, I pushed aside Lu Yanheng, who was shielding me, and took a step forward. I met Bai Yingyu's gaze, my voice quiet but exceptionally calm. You say I stole the USB drive. Where's your proof? Bai Yingyu was taken aback, then craned her neck and shouted, You were the last one to leave the company yesterday. Who else could it be? You're just jealous of me, jealous that Mr. Jiang treats me well. I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on her. My gaze went past her, directly to Jiang Linchuan. Mr. Jiang, you've seen the bid proposal I prepared for the Ruinen project, correct? He frowned but didn't speak, which was a tacit admission. I curled my lips into a sarcastic smile. Then may I ask, in the proposal Mr. Liu just presented, from the concept to the design, to the data, was there a single point that was the same as the one I prepared for you? The hall fell silent instantly. Everyone's gaze shifted from me to Jiang Linchuan. He was right. If I had really leaked the information, the core content of the two proposals would inevitably have similarities. Jiang Linchuan was the only one who had seen my proposal. He was the one who could best answer. His face turned incredibly ugly. It went from pale to ashen. He opened his mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Because he knew better than anyone that Lu Yanheng's proposal and the one I had made for him were in two completely different directions. Bai Yingyu panicked and tried to say more. Mr. Jiang, don't listen to her excuses, she. Shut up. Jiang Linchuan's roar made Bai Yingyu tremble and fall silent, not daring to say another word. You accuse me of stealing the USB drive without any proof. However, I happen to have a piece of evidence right here. I held up my phone. After all, I didn't come here just to be slandered by them. Bai Yingyu stared at me, stunned for a moment, then, as if sensing something, she pointed at me and shrieked, What tricks are you trying to pull now? Mr. Jiang, don't believe her. She's lying to you. I ignored her and pressed the play button. A sweet and delicate female voice came clearly from the phone's speaker. Make it so she can never hold her head up again, then we'll see how she competes with me. Money is not an issue. Find a few guys who are quick on their feet. I'll give you another sum of money afterward. Oh, and remember to take a video. I want to ruin her reputation completely. It was Bai Yingyu's voice. Jiang Linchuan swayed, looking at her in disbelief, as if seeing the real Bai Yingyu for the first time. The obedient, gentle, and sweet girl was now exposed before him as a malicious figure. No, it's not. Bai Yingyu shook her head frantically, her face a mess of tears and snot. It's a fake, she framed me. Mr. Jiang, believe me, I didn't. Slap. Jiang Linchuan used all his strength to slap Bai Yingyu to the ground. So you've been lying to me all along, you bitch. At that moment, the main doors of the hall were pushed open. Several police officers in uniform walked in, their expressions stern. Who is Bai Yingyu? Bai Yingyu on the floor froze, her sobs caught in her throat. An officer walked up to her, looked down and showed his badge. We received a report that you are suspected of inciting others to commit rape. You need to come with us for questioning. Bai Yingyu completely panicked, crawling on her hands and knees toward Jiang Linchuan, grabbing his pant leg. Mr. Jiang, save me. I didn't do it, I did it all because I love you too much. Save me. But Jiang Linchuan's eyes held only disgust and coldness. He kicked her hand away. Get lost. Bai Yingyu was dragged out by two officers, her cries and pleas for mercy fading into the distance until they disappeared completely. The hall was dead silent for a few seconds, then erupted in a buzz of discussion. My God, inciting rape, that's just too vicious. I can't believe Bai Yingyu is that kind of person. We were all fooled by her. The colleagues who had previously sided with Bai Yingyu against me were now too ashamed to even look at me. A few of them gathered around, their faces a mixture of guilt and awkward smiles. Chizai, we're sorry we didn't know she was that kind of person, we shouldn't have. Jiang Linchuan also pushed through the crowd and walked toward me with difficulty. His face was filled with regret and pain, his lips trembling as if he wanted to say something. Chizai. A hand suddenly came between us. Lu Yanheng had walked to my side at some point. His tall figure shielded me from everyone's gaze. He led me away, and we left the conference hall. As we walked out the main door, I spoke softly. Mr. Lu, thank you for today. He didn't reply, but simply reached out and pulled the collar of my suit jacket tighter. His eyes swirled with emotions I couldn't decipher, like sympathy and something else. Chizai, remember from today on, you are one of us at Huisheng. Don't let yourself be wronged again. His intense gaze made me feel flustered. I mumbled and meh and quickly fled. Behind me, I heard him chuckle softly. I ran even faster. The fiasco at the bidding conference made headlines in the financial news the very next day. Bidding conference fiasco, core talent defects, Chuangxi stock plummets at opening bell. The comments below were even more brutal than I had imagined. Inciting rape, a woman like that gets to be an assistant. What kind of people does Chuangxi even hire? Their core talent is gone. What future does this company have? Thank God I sold all my shares yesterday. I heard the talent who defected was Jiang Linchuan's fiancé. She was horribly bullied by that scumbag couple. This triggered a chain reaction. Partners who once chased after Chuangxi sent termination letters one after another. For several projects nearing their renewal dates, the other parties didn't even bother with pleasantries and directly announced they would not be renewing. The bank's collection calls flooded the company's front desk. Chuangxi's cash flow snapped. Chuangxi Group, president's office. The atmosphere was suffocating. Mr. Jiang, there's no money left in the accounts. Our partners have pulled their investments, the banks have cut off our credit. We won't last the month. The colleagues who once looked down on me were now ashen-faced. What are we going to do? Is the company going bankrupt? What about my mortgage and car loan? It's all Bai Yingyu's fault. If she hadn't gone crazy and flipped the breaker before the bid, none of this would have happened. And Mr. Jiang, sacrificing the entire company for a woman. These words reached Jiang Linchuan's ears, every single one. He waved his hand in frustration, telling everyone to get out. He was left alone in the massive office. He looked out the window and finally understood what losing the Ruanan project, what losing me, truly meant. His phone vibrated wildly on the desk. I looked at the name, Jiang Linchuan, flashing on my screen and felt a deep sense of irony. When I answered, his voice was hoarse, laced with a weariness and desperation he himself didn't seem to notice. Chizai, the company is in trouble. Come back and help me, please. Let's start over. I found it ironic. Mr. Jiang, have you forgot? It was you who personally dismissed me from my position. I leaned against the bright floor-to-ceiling window of Huisheng Group, overlooking the bustling city below. You said I was all sharp edges, harsh and mean, that all I cared about was showing off at the company. A person like me is probably worthless in your eyes, right? There was dead silence on the other end of the line. Chizai, he spoke again, his tone more urgent and panicked. I was wrong before. I was an idiot. I was blinded. Come back. As long as you come back, I'll agree to any condition. Company shares, the vice president position, it's all yours. Our engagement. Engagement? I cut him off. Oh, you mean that? If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten we were even engaged. Mr. Jiang, I have to thank you. Thank you and Bai Yingyu for letting me see what kind of trash you are. And thank you for your stupidity, which saved me from jumping into a pit of eternal damnation. As for the engagement, I paused, announcing my verdict clearly, word by word. It's off. The moment you chose to believe Bai Yingyu and hurt me for her, we were over. No, Chizai, you can't do this to me. He finally broke down, roaring hysterically into the phone. You still love me, you gave so much for me, you can't just end it like this. Were all our years together fake? Feelings? The sarcasm on my lips deepened. Jiang Linchuan, you want to talk about feelings with me now? When you were protecting Bai Yingyu, letting her and your employees insult me, did you think about our feelings then? When you discarded the proposal I personally made for you like it was trash, for her sake, did you think about our feelings then? Now that the company is about to go under, you finally remember me. Jiang Linchuan, don't you think it's a little too late? I gave him no more chances to speak and hung up the phone decisively. Then block delete. All in one smooth motion. The sun outside was bright. I squinted, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. A rotten, stinking relationship had finally been severed completely. Less than a week after I hung up on him, news of Chuangxi Group's demise spread throughout the city. Tax authorities, commerce departments, a joint law enforcement action, swift as lightning. All accounts were frozen, assets liquidated, and the office building was sealed. Jiang Linchuan and his group of executives, who had once bossed me around, were now burdened with massive compensation claims and lawsuits overnight. I was watering a new plant I had bought when I heard the news. Water droplets rolled off the leaves, crystal clear. The world was quiet, until a stormy night filled with lightning and thunder. The security guard called my apartment's intercom, his voice hesitant. "Miss Chi, there's a Mr. Jiang, kneeling downstairs. He won't leave no matter what we say." I walked to the window and lifted a corner of the curtain. In the pouring rain, the once proud and successful man was now like a beaten dog, soaked to the bone, kneeling on the cold ground. He seemed to sense my gaze and looked up abruptly, roaring in the direction of my apartment. "Chizai, I know you're watching me." I was wrong. I was really wrong. It was all that bitch Bai Yingyu. She manipulated me. She ruined me. He shifted all the blame onto another woman, as if he wasn't the one who had protected her and insulted me. All our years together, can you really be so heartless? I dropped the curtain and went downstairs. "Zixi, you do still care about me, don't you? You've forgiven me." Seeing me, he looked as if he'd found a glimmer of hope. I took a step back, avoiding his outstretched, dirty hand. "Jiang Linchuan," I said calmly. "All our years together, I'm also very curious how you could change just like that. Was it really just because of Bai Yingyu? When you were with me, you had nothing. We lived in a tiny 30-square-meter rental, ate cheap takeout, and you told me your dream was to give me a home. I believed you. The first round of startup capital for your company came from me selling the house my parents left me. Back then, you only had eyes for me. The rain, mixed with the cold wind, hit my face, chilling me to the bone. But I couldn't feel it. Later, Chuangxi Group got on track, and you became Mr. Jiang to everyone else. You started frequenting high-end clubs, surrounded by sycophants. You enjoyed the thrill of being praised, and so you began to look down on me, who once had to praise others in the same way. You thought I was too aggressive, not as gentle and understanding as a delicate flower like Bai Yingyu. With every sentence I spoke, Jiang Linchuan's face grew paler. So, it wasn't Bai Yingyu who manipulated you. It was power, money, and the arrogance and greed in your bones that turned you into what you are today. Your love was never that pure. Finally, I looked into his utterly hopeless eyes and smiled faintly. "You should go. You don't know you were wrong. You just know you're finished, and now you realize you can't live without me. The only person you've ever loved, from beginning to end, is yourself." I closed my umbrella, turned, and walked into the building, shutting his desperate roars and the pouring rain behind the door. 1 year later, Xingchen Technology, the company I founded, went public. The stock surged at the opening, its market value multiplying tenfold, becoming the most dazzling dark horse in the industry. With the company's first dividend, I bought my parents a villa with a yard in the suburbs. In this life, they would finally be spared the tragic fate of the last. My father tended to his flowers and plants, my mother experimented with her recipes, and they enjoyed their golden years in peace. It was wonderful. At the company's celebration banquet, I wore a red gown and became the center of attention. My partner and the other founder of Xingchen Technology, Lu Yanheng, walked onto the stage. He first thanked all the employees for their hard work. Finally, his gaze traveled across the crowd and landed on me. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, he turned on the projector. I, Lu Yanheng, voluntarily transfer 30% of the shares I hold in Xingchen Technology to Ms. Chizai, free of charge. The hall fell into a dead silence. Then, thunderous applause drowned out everything. That 30% of shares represented not tens of millions, but tens of billions in assets and absolute control over the company. Lu Yanheng walked up to me, his eyes filled with sincerity and respect. He said softly, "I don't want you to be my subordinate. I want you to be my partner. Chizai, are you willing to manage our business empire and also our future together with me?" I looked at him, then back at my parents in the audience. They were moved to tears, nodding at me emphatically. I took the sincere agreement and nodded solemnly. "I am." In my hands, I held his unconditional trust and a warm, solid future. The banquet ended, and the guests dispersed. Lu Yanheng held my hand, standing in the center of the empty hall. Our sea of stars had only just begun its voyage.